નમસ્કાર, હું આદર્શ છું. વેલકમ ટુ આદર્શ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી. Standard 9th, Subject Science, Chapter 7, Diversity in Living Organisms. Yes, students, in the last video we have discussed the introduction part. Diversity in living organisms means difference, all type of varieties of living organisms, how we have to study them. So what is the basis of classification? So you know that the organisms are classified on the basis of classifying into groups, then into subdivisions. So like this way we are studying them. See, attempts at classifying living things into groups have been made since the time immemorial. Okay, Greek thinker Aristotle. See, Aristotle classified animals according to whether the organisms live in water or air. So means according to their habitat. He classified organisms according to their habitat, whether they are living in the water or air, like this. So this is a very simple way of looking at life. So this is the very simple way of looking, but misleading too. But it's not a convenient method also. So for example, we will see that animals that live in the sea include corals, whales, octopus, starfish, and sharks. See, these are the animals living in the water. We can immediately see that these are very different from each other. So they are different from each other also. So in numerous ways. So that is why you cannot put in the same group. So in fact, but here habitat is the only the point they share in the common. Yes, habitat means so they are living in water. So this is the only one characteristic. So one. So this is not an appropriate way of making the groups. So this is not the way of making the groups of organisms to study and think about. Okay, this is one discussion. We therefore need to decide which characteristics, okay, what characteristics to be used as the basis for making the broadest divisions. So how we have to divide and making into or classify into broadest division. Broadest division means what? Protista, for example, five kingdoms comes. Protista, Monera, fungi, Animalia, plantae. So like this. In this, all the living organisms are classified according to their categories. So then we have to pick up the next set of characteristics for subgroups and within the division. So that is why broadest divisions includes subgroups. Okay. Then subgroups includes small groups and again small groups and again small groups. So like this. So this process of classification within each group can then continue using the new characteristics in each time. So in each and every time, see, like this, go on making the groups and groups, new characteristics can be studied here. Okay, for example, animals we have taken. In the Animalia groups will be there. See, this is the broadest division. Here vertebrate is characteristics as a taken. Okay, then in the vertebrates taken the fishes, all the fishes categories. Okay, then afterwards reptile. So here what they have noticed? New characteristics in all the times. So new characteristics, according to the new characteristics, they are put in the division. Okay. Now before we go on, we need to think about what is meant by characteristics. So what do you mean by the characteristics means what? When we are trying to classify a diverse group of organisms, diverse means a different group of organisms, we need to find ways in which some of the similarities. See, some of them are similar enough to be thought together. Okay, similarities on the basis of that. Classifying organisms are classifying the similarities. For example, take the organisms vertebrates. In the vertebrates, only vertebral column will be there. This is the new characteristics, or this is the, what you are saying here, characteristics are new characteristics found there. So then, these ways in fact are details of appearance or behavior aspect. See, here appearance and behaviors. In other words, form and function. Okay, you see that here characteristics found and then made into new groups, and then what you are saying, divisions. So in this way, see vertebrates you see, and here mammalia, mammals. Okay, they are milk-giving animals. Their appearance, their behavior, and their functions. So in this way, these are all by looking the ways of details of appearance as well as behavior studies also will be there. So dear students, what is meant by characteristics? So what do you mean by characteristics? Characteristics is a particular feature. It is a particular feature or a particular function. So that most of us have 5 fingers. Okay, we know I have said most of them have 5 fingers. Okay, this is the one characteristics. This is on each hand. This is the one characteristics. Okay, so then we can run. But the banyan tree, this is also living organisms, cannot. It is also a one characteristics. So like this way, characteristics also the main way of classifying the organisms. Now, try to understand here, to understand how some characteristics are decided as being more fundamental than the others. Let us consider how a stone wall is built. Say for example, you know that wall is built from the stone. The stones usually are of different shapes and size. Okay, stones are here, the same size they are not using. The different stones and different shapes. Okay, the stones at the top of the lever, at the top of the wall. Suppose you are going for the stones here, just I will show you. Suppose you are arranging like this. See, this is the stone, and here like this. Okay, this is in this way layer-wise. Okay, this is the top, here bottom, and this one is the top. See, the top level, the stones used here will have different shapes and size. The stones at the top level, top wall would not influence the choice of the stones of the here, would not choice of the stone below. The top is not depends upon this. The stones of the top will not depend upon the below one. Or on the other hand, say now try to understand the shapes and size of the stones in the lowermost layer will decide the shape and size of the next layer. The shape and size of the sphere depends upon this lowermost layer. Because here stones are small, here also stones are small. Here stones are big, here stones are big only. So, on the other hand, the stones in the lowermost layer will decide the shape and size of the next layer. So, this way the new groups, like this way groups are made. The stones in the lowermost layer are like the characteristics. So, this is like a characteristics. From the characteristics, you know that broad divisions will be made. And from the broad divisions, groups. And from the groups, again, small groups. So, in this way, classification is also like this way they are studying. So, the characteristics that decide the broadest divisions among the living organisms. They are independent way of any other characteristics in their effect on the form and function of the organism. The characteristic in the next level will be dependent on the previous. So, the characteristic in the next level would be dependent on the previous So this characteristics depends upon this two. So this is the way of model classifying. Okay, this is the way of classifying them. And here the characteristic in the next level would be depend on the previous one and would decide the variety in the next level. In this way, we can build up a whole hierarchy or hierarchy. So means a modern method of classification, a definite hierarchy is established after taking into the consideration. Okay, means divisions. Hierarchy means division. So multiplying characteristics and what? Multiplying mutually related characteristics to be used for the classification. Okay, dear students, got the idea now? Nowadays, we look at many interrelated characteristics starting from the nature of the cell. So here, the nature of the cell, say characteristics taken into the consideration, cell design or the nature of the cell. So here having well demarcated nucleus. So here what will comes, here used as a eukaryotic cell or prokaryotic cells. You know that eukaryotic cells have well bounded membranes will be there, including the nucleus. So nucleus membrane will be there. So which allows cellular process to be carried out efficiently, that is isolated form. Say for example, you know that this is the cell structures and here nucleus will be there. Here different types of cell organisms will be there. So it is also well bounded membrane. So this is separate from this is separate from this. So well isolated. Therefore organisms which do not have a clearly demarcated nucleus, other organisms would not have that. So here this one is prokaryotic. See, prokaryotic, they don't have well nucleus or they don't have the well membrane. So that is why biochemical ways organized in very different ways. Means here biochemical ways organized. They should have an effect on every aspect of the cell division. Further, nucleated cells would have the capacity to participate in making the multicellular organisms. See, you know that our body is multicellular organisms. So here eukaryotic cells will be there, definite eukaryotic cells. So now that bone cell and blood cells, okay, and sperms, ovum. So like so that's why they will do the definite functions. So they can take up the special functions. Therefore, nucleus can be a basic characteristics of the organ classification. And another one, these do the cells. See, having the body design, see, according to that body design, see, due to this body design we develop, say unicellular or multicellular. So cells occur single, is you say that unicellular, are grouped together, multicellular. So they live in the indefinite groups. So cells that group together to form a single organism use principle of the division of labor. Division of labor means dividing the cells. See, in the multicellular organisms, so millions of cells will be there. In such a body division, all cells would not be identical. Here, all the cells are identical, means they are not same. Okay, instead groups of the cells, they carried out special functions. So this makes very distinction in the body design. So this makes us very different, very distinct body design. So these cells, okay, from the body design will depend upon the nucleus. Now the next one is nutrition, autotrophic mode or heterotrophic mode. You know that do organisms produce their own food? You know that plants, they are preparing the food themselves. So according to their body designs will be different. But animals, they are heterotrophic. Depends the food on different organisms to get the food from the outside. So according to their body design will be different. Okay. So of the organisms that perform photosynthesis, like the plants, what is the level of the organisms of their body? The level what will be there? One is root level and another one is the shoot level. Root level means below organism, their root, and shoot means above the ground and root means below the ground. So according to that, they are classifying. So of the animals, how does the individual's body develop and originate its different parts? What are the special organisms found in the different organisms? So we can see that even these few questions, hierarchy means division is developing the characteristics of the body design used for the classification of plants. It will be very different from those important or classifying the animals. So according to the nutrition, the living beings are classified. So this is because the basic designs are different based on the need to make their own food and acquire it. Animals are acquired or depend on others. So therefore, these design features, having the skeletons, you know that say according to the animals, you say plants, they are going for photosynthesis, and animals have to move from place to place. So skeleton is developed their bodies. So used to make, so in this way they will make the subgroups rather than making the broad groups. So these are all about the students. Characteristics is taken into consideration. Okay, in this way, this is the what is basis of classification. Okay, what are the ideas, students? Okay, we will study in the next video, classification and evolution. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us.